fellas, a friend of my son brought him a Remington 552 Speedmaster, the round wooden chamber in the gun. And my son told him my dad tinkers with guns, so I'll take it to him and see what he can do. So he brought it to me. That's probably the dirtiest gun I ever seen. I cleaned it and I thought, well, surely that dirt is what's kept it from chambering. So after I got done cleaning it, got back together, which are very simple to take apart. You take the screw out of the fore end and take the charging handle loose from the bolt and simply twist on it and it will pull right out, and the bolt slides out. The extractor or ejector comes out real easy. So I got it back together after I cleaned it, and took it outside, chambered around in it. You could hear the hammer drop. Nothing happened. So I ejected that around and put another one there. Same thing happened. Hammer drop, nothing happened. And I looked at the ejected shells, and there was no firing pin dent on it. So I thought, well, maybe the firing pin's stuck on it. So I did look up a video on YouTube to make sure how to take it apart. Took it apart and looked at the firing pin. It was real dirty. And I cleaned that channel out the best I could without driving the pin out, because I was afraid to mess the pin up and you couldn't get another one at the parts place where I looked at. So I said, okay, I can clean it out good enough without doing that. So I cleaned it out, got the firing pin moved and everything, put it back together. Same thing. Hammer drop, nothing happened. So I took it apart again and got to investigating a little bit, and I looked, and I thought, I see a piece of brass still in the chamber of that gun. And I thought, surely not. So I tinkered around and I took a little, believe it or not, a pick from a nut cracking set. I kind of sharpened the end, I stuck it up in there, and sure enough, I scratched what I was seeing in there. I thought, that's not the chamber. This is not hard enough to scratch that chamber. So sure enough, got a piece of brass stuck up in there. What had happened, evidently the gun was so dirty, it allowed that round to chamber, and the bolt was closed just far enough to let the trigger drop the hammer. And when it fired, it actually split that case, the bolt, to pull the rim of the shell out and ejected it and left that spent chamber, or spent round up in there, or spent hull, I should say. So I tinkered with it and tinkered with it. I couldn't figure out how to get it out. I tried this, I tried that. Matter of fact, I almost got a cleaning brush stuck in it. So I happened to talk to my good buddy Mike Reed, and he said, have you got a set of taps? And I said, no, I don't have a set of taps. I should have, but I didn't. And he said, if you get you a tap and stick it in there and turn it in, and you just pull that hole right out. So the only thing I had was I think it was an 824 tap that had come with one of my muzzleloader kits, and it was too small. So Mike, even though his power was out, he put on a headlamp, went to his shop and dug through his taps and found that a 1224 tap would thread into a 22 case. So I had my son pick up an inexpensive set of taps and dies at Harbor Freight, of all places. You know what I think of that place, but I can't order anything from them online. But my son went by there and bought that cheap set, and he brought it to me. And so I already had the gun apart, and the problem is that tap is, if you'll see, or can you see, so that thing's not long enough to get down in that chamber and you be able to turn it. So I took a chance. I took the tap, and it would fall down the muzzle of the gun to the chamber. I thought, I'm going to try something, and maybe a mistake. So I took that tap and just let it fall down to the chamber. Now I took this brass cleaning rod and I put it down on that tap. Took my little hammer right here, a little drifting hammer, and just started tapping it. And I thought, well, I get it hung, I can drive it back out the other way because the rod would come back out. But I just slowly tapped, and I looked in there and I thought, well, it's almost to the end of it. I guess I'm going to get it hung. So I gave about one more good little tap. This fell out. So the chamber is clear. So what I'm going to do now is I'll put the gun back together, and I'll take it outside, or clean it a little bit more because I wasn't able to clean the chamber. But I'll clean it a little more and take it outside and see if it's fire. So don't be afraid to try. This is really a simple thing on your firearms. When something like that happens, it probably would have been a fairly expensive proposition to take it to a gunsmith, which I ain't about doing it for free, but I'm not going to charge the kid much for it anyway. But study on it, think about it a little bit, and as big a klutz as I am, I managed to get this out. So thanks a lot for watching. Keep your powder dry. Mind your top knot, builder.